Wild horses eat, for up to 18 hours a day, foods which are extremely woody and coated with dust. On this upper jaw molar, the eruption of the tooth is simulated. Through the deposition of cementum in the tooth socket, the tooth is pushed out of its socket at an average rate of around 3 to 4 mm per year and is worn down against the opposing tooth in the lower jaw, until it finally falls out at the age of approx 25 years. Our domesticated horses are given very much softer raw food, but the teeth still continue to grow exactly like those of wild horses. The consequence of this is the information of tooth edges and hooks, which are known as enamel points. One task of veterinary equine dentistry is to file off these edges and hooks with the least possible discomfort for the animal. These tooth edges cause injury to the mucous membranes of the checks, which can be very painful. So in order to remove these edges and hooks or enamel points as gently as possible, we have a number of instruments. For the removal of hard tooth substance, electrically operated power floats are far better for the horse, firstly because they work much faster, and secondly because the horse tolerates them much better due to the regular filing motion. The grinding discs are diamond coated and thus ensure that the hard tooth substance is filed away quickly, which is less stressful for the animal and produces little heat. Correct handling of the power float and the rafts will be demonstrated on the skull model fitted with the mouse speculum. We insert the power float on the lower jaws and set it in the lingual edge of the mandibular molars. The float is switched on here and advanced until it reaches the last molar, M3. Here the hook, which often develops on M3, is filled down and the buccal edges are also removed. Should irregularities like enamel points have developed on individual molars, which would make premature contact and cause occlusal interferences, these are filled down as well. In another step, the maxillary molars are filled down. Usually the tooth edges are on the buccal side, which is why we start from the outside and pass the running float over the edges of the teeth at the buccal ends of the molars. In a final step, the P2s, the first molars in the upper jaw, are rounded off. The aim of the floating procedure is to remove the tooth edges on the molars as demonstrated on this maxillary molar. Here we have the palatal side, and here the buccal side, and this is the occlusal surface. The sharp edges from on the buccal side of the upper jaw. They are clearly visible here. When filling back these edges, we must ensure that we conserve the occlusal surface so as to preserve its physiological character and enable the horse to retain its physiological chewing action. This will be now demonstrated on the model held in the vise. During floating, the grinding disc becomes clogged with a mixture of tooth fillings, saliva, food residue and blood, impairing its abrasion. That's why it is important to clean the disc regularly. If space is restricted, it is not always possible to fill off all the tooth substance accurately with a power float, so for these cases we have handheld dental rasps. These are anatomically shaped to fit the jaw and the conditions. The dental rasps are covered with hard metal granulate, thus enabling the tooth substance to be removed as quickly as possible without harming the mucous membranes from places the power float cannot reach. We use the concave rasp predominantly for the back of the mouth, i.e. for molars 1 to 3 in both the upper and lower jaw. The flat rasp is intended mainly for the middle molars, i.e. for the area from premolar 3 to molar 2 in the upper and lower jaw. In the lower jaw, primarily on the lingual side, and in the upper jaw, mainly on the buccal side. The convex tooth rasp and the shorter handle are particularly well suited for use on P2, the first molar in the upper jaw. Many horses have canine teeth in the interdental space between incisors and molars. These are secondary gender characteristics of male animals. They are fighting teeth, which are also known as tusks. These tusks take up a lot of space in the mouth when you consider that the tongue itself completely fills the oral cavity. And if a snuffle or curb bit is added too, the tongue is pressed uncomfortably against these tusks, which can lead to defensive reactions and the horse becoming unrideable. That's why we can file these tusks down by a few millimeters to give more space in the mouth. After the tusks are shortened by around half the original length with the power float, while conserving the pulp, the tooth is rounded off using the Dr. Simon canine file to ensure that there are no sharp edges which could irritate the tongue. As an alternative to the dental rasps shown, the S-shaped flat dental rasp can also be used.